This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 411.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology. The technology.
Why, hello everybody, this is Adam Sorvey, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. Sadly, there are still nothing in person, nothing online next week either. So no WordCamps, and that's it. So, all right, moving on to segment one in the news. A couple of things to talk about here. First and foremost, WordPress 5.9 release candidate 1 is out in the wild. We're looking to still get that out. The developers are looking to get it out the 25th, I believe, of this month of January 2022. Yeah, it is 25th. Just 3 weeks to go, approximately, if that. Yeah. So you can test it. There's a way to do that. There's a WordPress beta tester plugin. You can get the bleeding edges every night, etc. So don't use it on a live site, as I've always said in the past. Check that out. So 5.9 release candidate 1. Also, some big news. Yoast SEO is going over to Shopify, meaning that they're going to write an app to be integrated that people can then use if you have a Shopify store. I did an episode about Shopify for the e-commerce comparisons. That was last year. What episode was that? Let's take a look here real quick. E-commerce, say Shopify, just to kind of make sure you know. It is episode 389. Episode 389 was the Shopify episode. And Shopify was interesting. I didn't hate it. Not moving to it at the moment, but I definitely see it, and I know the look of it when I see it on a website right away. It's like, oh, that's a Shopify site. I just kind of know. Anyway, so Yoast is going over there. There's a link in the show notes about the reasoning and how they did it and what they're doing. So check that out if you're interested as well. And lastly in the news, my buddy Alex Vasquez back in Los Angeles, he did his year in review. And I want to share that with you. It was interesting read to hear how he's doing, what's going on with his business. He runs an agency called Savvy. I haven't talked to him in a while, but I did see his share on the ethers and the intranets. So I thought I'd link to that there in the show notes as well. So check that out if you're interested in reading about another person who runs an agency and freelancer doing things and how they did last year. So, all right, that is it for in the news. Moving on to the meat and potatoes of this week's episode, the segment 2, top 5 web design trends for 2022. Yeah, it's a new year, and there are new design trends that are always kind of happening. There's lots of them. And I did a ton of research here. I dug into this, and there are so many out there. But I narrowed it down to the top 5 that at least I wanted to share and talk about. So with that said, number 1, simplicity. To say that businesses are undergoing a serious challenge going into 2022 would be an understatement, in my opinion. I mean, my business is for sure. And that being said, creating a roadblock to a customer engagement is not the best idea. It's not a good strategy by any stretch if you're looking to grow, right? So how do you translate that into web design? Well, maybe it's by the use of fewer words, relaxing and calming colors, vivid imagery, and a very clear call to action should be the goal here in the term of simplicity for 2022. In the years past, we had infographics, we had tightly designed, type-driven space, condensed. But I honestly believe, and what I've read and looked at, design in 2022 will incorporate more space and gentle motion. So there's that. So simplicity is number 1. Number 2, accessibility. Now, inclusivity, yeah, and accessibility are more than a trend. And there's more of a growing need for web design to factor that in for the needs of people with disabilities. Having a site that every visitor can navigate and interact with is more than just part of good customer service. It really is. It's providing an experience that is beyond excellent. It's providing an excellent experience. It can also help create a conversion, boost your SEO, and reach a wider audience. Honestly, it's just more opportunity there. So, over the years, web design has added multiple do this first type of things. Mobile first, security first, speed first. But now accessibility needs to be integrated in the design process from the start, not just after the fact, okay? So, it's just like security had to be added after the fact, or being device agnostic. Well, now it has to be all the way, all the time, across all those things. So accessibility is a big thing moving into 2022, in my opinion. Number 3, images of real people versus unreal people, I suppose. But so by the use of images here, I mean real people that are similar to your customers or their friends or the family. Brands become relatable if they see themselves, if the consumer sees themselves in that brand, right? Especially when it comes to e-commerce. So you really need to see images of real people doing what they expect to be doing, not solely staged and whatnot. It can really help you and help your customer envision themselves using your product or your service. Okay. If you want really, really real images, check out Random Photo, RADUMB, like randomphoto.com. There's some real images there. It's a cool site. And number 4, one-page websites. I'm still a big firm believer of this. I think it hasn't really gone away. I don't think it's completely new, but it's definitely stronger. Some and the most effective sites out there have the ability could be just one page. You don't have to have tons of pages. I just actually hooked up with a friend of mine in my men's workout group. He's told me I have 4 pages I need built. I'm like, no, you don't. You need 1. Trust me. It helps with simple scrolling and navigation. The subject matter is narrower. Portfolio or presentation of a single idea. One-page websites can be very, very popular, and it makes more sense than you would think to do it this way. And number 5, subtle special effects. So now in this arena, I'm talking about animation and parallax. Now this trend has been around for a while. More sites are using it, in scrolling in subtle ways. And it can be attention grabbing with the parallax, but too much done poorly is going to be really distracting. You got to be very careful how you use it. And actually, it's funny. I was actually just thinking myself recently, I am in the early process of updating, not changing, but updating Concierge, my agency site, just a little bit, just to add a little bit of some animation, maybe a little parallax on that homepage, and a couple of the other pages as well. But I'm trying to figure out a way to do it so it's subtle, because I understand, I understand that if it's overdone, I'll risk compromising the overall design of my site. So, just be subtle with that, but special effects are a 2022 thing. So lastly, in digging into this topic, it became very apparent to me that there's a bunch of academia-related research on this topic, which led me down the rabbit hole of reading more academia about it. I just kind of forget that everything can have research to the 10x fold on this kind of thing. So I did a bunch of reading about this, and some of the research that came back was about a cultural mindset that motivates trends in design. I thought that was interesting. And I read the following quote. I saved this as a quote. I don't remember where I saved it from because I highlighted the text and saved it, and it didn't give me the link. So the quote is this: "Successful websites in 2022 and beyond will counter this by creating experiences that help the user and generate positive thinking and goodwill. The themes of recovery and growth are fostered with clear messaging and inspiring imagery." So, the key there is the cultural mindset. That's where the quote is referencing. So, really interesting, and something to take into consideration when you're designing the site and building the site and working with clients across the board. So, anyway, there you have it. Top 5 things to think about for 2022, in my opinion: simplicity, accessibility, images of real people, one-page websites, and special effects, but used in a subtle and light way. So there you go. All right. I'm curious if you have any ideas what you're going to do in your design for websites and for clients this year, or for yourself. Let me know. Love to share and hear what you're doing. All right, moving on. Segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This one is over at WP Themes Showcase. It's actually the URL is themetics.com, THEMETIX.com. It's an interesting site. It shows the rankings and where themes are being used. So you got to check it out. I can't really explain it in this audio way, but it's really neat. It just tells you like the most popular themes. For example, I'm clicking on it. Genesis is one of them. Divi, Avada, 2012, 13, 14, Enfold, etc. And you click into that, it tells you like what other people are using for other tools within those themes as well. So pretty neat thing. Check it out. It's over at themetics.com, THEMETIX.com. Also be a link in the show notes. So there you have it for this week. I'm going to wrap it up here. If you have any questions, send it in via email, adam@kitchensinkwp.com, or use that SpeakPipe function on the website. If you want to support the show, you can become a Patreon. There's a link on the website, and there's also a form on the website. You can sponsor the show in 2022. I'd love to have you on board. If you want some coaching and business accountability and some ideation help, I'm over at adamsilver.com. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right? Bye-bye.